And so our plan starts to come together. Mostly, anyway. Lodok is perhaps not the most pleasant of locations. It does have the sort of people we need for this sort of thing. I admit, I tend to prefer to reclaim my relics from tombs which no one is guarding anymore, as opposed to fortresses full of people, probably doing a good thing, but I have little choice. Unless we can find a way to kill a dragon. I do wish my fellow Asathi had been a little less concerned with getting relics for themselves rather than our people. But again, what can I do? I really hope there is something else in the vault that can make all this worth it. I need to bring back something special for the Queen. It's the whole point of my ventures beyond the Jeweled City, after all, to bring something back which already belongs to our people. Well, for now I must focus on the task at hand. I have a long day ahead, and it's not like Vasaf or our new friend Attila will have any hope of getting anything done without me. This is Red Moon Roleplaying.
Then we return to the land of Skarn, and a small fishing village on the southwest coast of the nation of Zathisk, the once glittering jewel of Gelspad. But after the war between titans and gods, this land became, as the rest of the land became, scarred. It's not so bad down here in the south, overlooking the blossoming sea, one of the richest bodies of water, containing thousands of species of fish, all edible, all catchable. It's a thriving trade down here. But our heroes, and I use that term loosely, are not down here for the sights or for a hearty fish supper. They have agreed, perhaps against their better judgment, to work for a fire rack dragon, to retrieve a treasure for him from a supposedly impenetrable fortress that may even rest above the torpid corpse of a titan. Will our three adventurers make it out of this alive or in one piece? The odds say it's unlikely. When last we left them, they were staying at the residence of the noble Hara family of Asathi. Certainly it was a family that was wealthier at one point than they are today, more powerful than they were at one point than they are today. But they made a deal with the Haras, and so they have access to their vessels. They can, theoretically, sail out to the fortress on the sea and retrieve their loot. The Citadel of Vilhaim is an imposing fortress. You can't quite see it from the coast, but all sailors say that when you approach its monolithic greatness, it is as if the greatest rock penetrates the sea and reaches as high as the sky, and the walls permanently shift, never allowing a safe place to harbour, unless you know the way in. So I turn it over to our heroes. What are they doing this morning in this small village of Lodok?
As I'm waking up, I feel the smell of burnt fur, and I look reluctantly at my very badly singed, otherwise purple and lovely looking servant clothes that I was given for my lords when I set out on this venture. It is with some reluctance that I put it on again. I have become used from certain noble garments that I've been wearing, serving under the dwarven family that have raised me, to some sort of style, and this is not it. I put on my eye patch. I straighten up, get myself ready, and I look to go and get something new, something just looking better. As we set out today, and hopefully, I'm going over it in my head, find some sort of sorcerer or a maid to help us guide the ship and get us underwater. And I think about what my friends will do. My newly met friends who have impressed me, Kadar not least, by speaking in Slytherin tongue. Something I haven't spoken in decades. What will they do? And can we really trust this triangle, this thieves guild, this local set of rogues? I don't know. But if there's something that I can bring back from in there, in the fortress, to please my lords, then that is what I'll do.
I am slow to wake in the morning. I don't really like getting up early at all. I struggle to get out of bed, mainly because the sheets are a bit too heavy for me, and I am extremely frail. Still, I get out, I dress in my finest robes. Granted, they are still a bit charred, but it'll do for today. Placing on my fine jewels, collecting my belongings, and I will make my way briskly down the stairs, eager to partake of, hopefully, a hearty breakfast.
And you find me sitting there eating breakfast already. I've said my thanks to Mormo this morning for yet another beautiful day, and today we're gonna finally get these preparations in order, yes. Meet this spell slinger, possibly speak to the triangle, yes. I can't wait, because, and I look at the jewelry that I have on, because this is far from the level that I'm used to. This will change. And I look at Kadar as he appears. Good morning.
Ah, good morning, Fasaf, good morning. And I go and sit by him and help myself to some of the food on his plate, and then perhaps search for any food that might be left for myself.
You're welcome. I didn't need that anyways.
Of course not, Fasaf, of course not. I'm the one who needs the food, constitution and all that.
And I come down and I join you, I nod to you both, and I sit down to eat.
What's the plan? We need to... I can't just sit here. We need to go. We need to go, quick.
Now, Fasaf, now, enjoy your morning wine and food and let us talk. I look around at this point. Have we just been left to ourselves to have some breakfast and I assume leave the property?
There's a dusty-looking butler, not an Asathi. You didn't see this individual the night before. It's an old man, a little hunched over at the upper back, stood by the door to the main hall. You've been able to access this banquet area from your rooms, taking one of the side staircases. But he's just stood there, quietly observing you, maybe even asleep, you're not sure. His eyes look half shut.
I call out to him to bring some more wine, and I lean across the table and say, right, my friend, so, first things first. We have, the way I see it, 3 main goals today. Goal number 1, deal with the water problem, possibly via this sorcerer or wizard. Goal number 2, we must seek the triangle and gain their aid in whatever way we can. I'll leave that to you too.
I know where they are.
Ah, do you now?
I spoke to them the other day. Yesterday, in fact. Yes, I'm sure they will be interested as long as they get a nice share of the pie.
I sigh a little and say, I'm sure they will be. But don't interrupt me, Fasaf. I hadn't mentioned goal number 3. Deal with the fire problem. I might be able to do that myself. So, for now I say goals number 1 and 2, we do first. What say you, Attila?
Well,
I look up from my food.
seems like you've got it figured out. I don't know if there's anything else we need to face
along the way. I for sure know that I'll want to bring my lizard if possible, but he's a good swimmer. He can make it.
And I look dreamily out the windows towards the sea again.
Speaking of which, we might need to get some straps for myself, Asaf. I will, of course, probably need to be strapped to a tiller here for the swing.
You're what?
I'm not going to swim all the way down. Look at me. But you are a strapping fellow. I'm sure you won't mind me on your back.
I eye you up and down, and I do a sort of expression. It's hard to read with my one eye, but it seems to be some sort of approval, and I keep eating.
The butler approaches the table with a bottle in a basket. Which one of you wants a drop then?
I'll have some of that one, and some of that one, and a dash of that one.
Yeah, I thought you might. I thought you might like a drop. He pours you a flagon. Morning wine, eh?
Yes, it's like my father used to say. Start the day with wine, continue with wine, and then end it with wine, and everything will be fine. Do you see the little rhyme there? I find it quite amusing.
I do. It's how the nobles drink up north, so I hear.
Correct. Most astute.
Here, he leans in. I can give you something a little bit extra from down in the submerged cellar if you can slip me a coin or two.
I shall indeed slip him a coin.
Right you are, sir, right you are. I'll be back momentarily. He doesn't dash off as much as shuffle back towards the main hall, but he has left the banquet hall.
And I lean back, taking a moment to take a claw into my teeth, and I looked for Saf and say, "So you were saying, for Saf?"
Well, I know where to find the triangle. The question really is, what do we need from them? What do we need from them that we don't already have?
My thoughts are distraction. At the moment, 3 of us, swimming in. What's to stop us getting seen, having to deal with people, and I don't really wish to deal with that many people, especially if these rumors of beasts are to be believed.
That's good thinking, Kadar. I always knew you were the one with the brains.
Well, one point I've been thinking of was how to actually get the armor out of there. Are we supposed to swim out in full armor once we're in and once we've acquired everything? And then, what about the other pieces of treasure? How do we get it out?
Well, you're going to need to be carrying it, or even our friends could be the ones carrying it. Unfortunate we don't have one of those, magical bags that help at times like this. But nope, we'll have to make do with what we have.
That's what I'm thinking. We could just hire some strong swimmers, some seamen or whatever, something to help us carry the stuff and then just pay them off a fraction of it.
Couldn't that wizard help us, the spellslinger? Doesn't he have those magical bags and stuff?
They could indeed. Also, we're going to have to make up something to get the triangle interested. Something like, oh, you can have whatever you want type deal. To be honest, I don't really care if they all die, but we have to make it seem like they're in on the plan.
Alright. So what, we're gonna bring stuff out and give to them, or they can go in and take what they want? What should we offer?
Well, we need to have the important stuff ourselves. So we need something for that. Anything else they can carry. I suppose we'll have to talk the details with them. Perhaps we should see the spellslinger first, for his meeting could influence how the other plans go.
Agreed. Alright, well, we're burning daylight here. Let's go.
And I break off a bone and suck out the marrow. How is the food here?
Yeah, it isn't as good as you'd imagine from a noble house, but that pretty much lives up to the reputation of what the Haras are currently exuding. They have a half-submerged mansion. It rather feels like the food has been half-submerged as well.
And I toss the bones away, and I get up to follow.
As you're heading out the doors, you hear a voice calling from behind. Oh, wait a sec.
I shall stop, turn back, and look with expectation at the butler. Ah, yes, I hadn't forgot. Hand it over.
Oh, of course. He hands you a very small bottle and gives you a wink. I think this will set you up right as rain.
Well, I may save this for later. My thanks.
Don't let it rest too long in the bottle.
Oh, what is it?
It's a special drop of something I like to keep by, sir. But the lady's calling now. I should attend to her. I should attend to her scales.
Tell her, lady, we are grateful for hospitality. That Clan Kaldash is grateful for the assistance of Clan...
Hara.
Clan Hara, that's it, yes. Don't worry, soon everyone will remember that name very quickly. Trust me.
Of course, you have a safe journey now.
Oh, I'm sure we will. And I will make my way out, although I do wait, of course, for either Fasaf or Attila to open the doors.
Well, I'm in a hurry, so I immediately get the door open and get out into the streets.
I have taken the rear as a bodyguard often does.
The weather outside is dreadful this morning. It is pouring with rain. It's splashing off the sea. And the sky above is a dark, ominous grey. There are very few people milling around in Lodock at this time of morning, other than fisher folk who are heading out to their boats. Certainly, no one is standing outside to admire the weather.
I have to kick Klozek, my big lizard mount, a few extra times to even get him to rise up when it's not hot and nice. Not that he would want to rise up even then, just to get him out of there, and I say,
Come on, Klozek. I'll find you a better spot.
Well, then, to the tavern it is. Where would those really down on their luck be frequenting of the taverns here? I wonder, and I'd look around. I try to see. This is the morning, so if someone's drinking at this time, they are probably a little bit down on their luck, perhaps.
A little bit. There are two taverns, as detailed before. One very much open to the air, the other closed. They sit on either side of the main road, facing each other. There don't appear to be any other drinking establishments in the main body of Lodock, although, of course, there could be something further along the seafront or up the cliff. You are directly overlooking the sea. There's still a number of ships in harbour, and boats as well, so of course there's every possibility there are crew who are still in their hammocks or working on board, and there could be any number of interesting characters to encounter.
What do you think? Should we go and ask around among the ships, or head to a tavern?
I give you a little impatient look and say, I don't know, Fasaf. Use your initiative for a change. Lead the way.
I can show you to the triangle, but I don't know nothing about no spell slingers.
Well, maybe they know something themselves if you ask them.
Well, all right.
I'm sure they have mages as well, right?
Well, let's go ask one of those, the crews by one of those ships then. Let's see if they might be able to help us, huh? Better someone sober than someone drunk, right?
Well, I suppose the sailors are more here for work. People who stop by in the actual village and I look around are probably more likely to just stay inside and drink today.
I suppose you're right about that. Well, alright, let's go to the tavern we visited earlier. That was a good place, a fine establishment, and it's where the triangle will likely be as well.
Indeed. And I make to follow. Not in the best of moods now. I'm getting wet. I've had to pull my hood up, and I look very upset. I don't like getting wet.
Yes, and we make it towards the tavern that I visited before, where I visited with the triangle.
Yes, the Thieves' Guild were present here, at least in a small number, the night before. It's considerably emptier this time of morning, as you'd imagine most taverns to be. Yes, there are some sea dogs that have been propping up the bar all night. This isn't an inn which you can stay, it is just a drinking hole. But there's been people who have taken advantage of the relatively comfortable stools to just fall asleep where they sit, occasionally wake, have another drink, fall asleep again. At the very least, it's not the rocking waves of the ocean.
Well, I figured the easiest way to do this is to speak to the barman. Pay him for his troubles. So, I take us into the tavern, and I move up to the barman, and I have a coin ready that I push over to him. Would you happen to know of what do you call them? A spell slinger, a mage, a wizard, one of those magical people? You know, they can do the stuff. We're looking for one of them, and would there be one here that might be able to help us?
I lean over and I tap your shoulder.
I believe it is a ship's mate we're looking for.
Right. Yeah, one of them.
And I look up expectantly at the bartender.
He takes the coin, puts it in the pocket on his shirt. All I knows is spell slingers, as you call them, aren't welcome in this establishment. They set fires. But thank you for the coin. If you don't bottle it, you can't barrel it. What am I supposed to know about it?
Well, you know things. You talk to people. You know what's going on in this city, don't you? Any barman worth his salt knows things, no? Are you saying you don't? Or that you don't want to help?
Listen, there's plenty of people like you that come round here hunting down spell slingers, trying to sell them to slave masters and the like. I know a few, but I'm not just going to give them to you for a paltry coin. Imagine the trouble I'd get in if I gave away the home address of a renowned sorcerer in this little town of ours.
I come up with a smile, sort of flicking my tail around a little and go, "But of course, sir, but of course. But then keep in mind who you're speaking to. We're clearly not a bunch of ne'er-do-wells. We are here to gather their services. We have good coin to pay for enchantments and spell casting and all that good stuff. And we'll be happy to give you some more if you just pointed us in the direction of at least their abode, or if that's too much, just a way of contacting them to let them know that we mean legitimate business."
Ah, well, now you're talking. If you give me the coin you would use to hire this said spell slinger, I'll send a runner out to fetch him. At least then I know your offer is legitimate, don't I?
Very well. How does 3 gold sound?
3 gold?
Fine. 5.
I've been dealing with the horrors for a little while. I didn't know all you Asathi were so stingy with your coin.
Well, what would you consider a good price, sir?
10 gold guarantees that I will speak to a spell slinger and see whether they're interested in meeting up with 2 snakes and a rat.
I wrinkle my nose a little as I say, "The only issue I would have there is that the 10 gold you get will then not go to the man in question, for we will have no more money to pay for his services."
Well, that's down to me and the man in question to discuss, innit?
I look at Kedar expectantly.
You 3 don't seem particularly ripe for negotiation. I'm guessing you're new to this.
I look down at my now also wet and singed doublet, and I feel a bit miserable.
I just nod to Kadar. Let's do it. We have places to be, things to do.
I'm aware of that, but this man drives a hard bargain. But I tell you what, and I smile, and I do a little bow, you are clearly a man of great intelligence and great business acumen. How about something worth 10 gold? What about this? And I take out the little bottle I was given earlier.
What's that supposed to be?
Have a sniff. I think you'll find this quite an interesting beverage. Straight from the cellars of Clan Hara. Hush, hush, don't tell anyone I gave this to you.
It's gonna have to be a pretty special vintage for 10 gold, but alright. He takes the bottle from you.
As he is about to hand over the bottle, I snatch it and I say,
I'll have that. Here's your 10 gold.
and I hand over the 10 gold.
If this is supposed to be some kind of negotiation technique, you've completely lost me. And although I appreciate the compliment, Mr. Asath, that I must be an intelligent businessman of great acumen, if I was, I wouldn't be running a tavern down on a dockside of Lodock, would I? Still, 10 gold is 10 gold. I'll be back shortly. He disappears out the back.
Well, that went smoothly, I say to my friends.
I give Attila a little bit of a pouty look and just remark, well, fine, you're gold. Although now I'm down a nice vintage and dignity.
Well, you should have considered that before.
And I open the bottle and I sniff it.
The smell is outrageously bad. You are perhaps thankful that the tavern keeper did not take a whiff of it. Go straight to your head and your eyes cannot help but water.
I cringe a bit, and you see a sliver of drool coming down the side of my mouth, as if I'm about to gag. And then I taste it.
You're drinking straight from the bottle.
I drink just a little sort of sip, yes.
I would like you to make a constitution save, please.
That is a 9.
You feel nauseous as all hell. You feel like you have just been beaten about the head by a god and then a titan and then kicked to the floor by an army of elves who have all trampled over your abdomen, one at a time. When you come to, you are in fact laying there clutching your stomach as if hundreds of men have just walked over it. You cannot remember the last 10 seconds. However, your two companions witnessed it. You swayed, you lurched, you acted like you were a ship at sea at particularly high tide, and then you collapsed, writhed, groaned, shouted, "Get off me," and then it was 10 seconds later.
That stuff has got a punch in it, huh? We could use that. I mean, not for us. Not for us. We could use it as, like, a weapon.
So I sway about, and I start stumbling out to throw up on the street outside in the rain.
The street is a welcome friend as the fresh air slaps you in the face and assists in the evacuation of the contents of your stomach, your morning breakfast. Hits the cobblestones, and you feel a lot better for it.
Meanwhile, in those 10 seconds of him collapsing, I, of course, very quickly moved forward and collected my bottle back.
Alright, so we're waiting to meet with that sorcerer then.
Outside, you do notice one thing as you chunder and coat the street in a nice shade of yellow and pink. You're not getting wet at all. It's pouring with rain, but you're not wet. Certainly not any wetter than you were when you entered the tavern.
I look up and I struggle just getting back on my feet, and I hold my hand out to see the rain fall on it.
It forms a mist around your hand, but seems to bounce off. It's as if you are waterproof.
I raise an eyebrow. Well, this is interesting. And then I look in my other hand where I held the vial, but it appears to be gone. I look around, and I suppose I see you there. Did you take it, Kadar?
I did, and you'll probably see me just in time, sort of moving it about in my hands and putting it back into my robes.
What are you doing? I paid for that.
You didn't pay for it. You gave him 10 gold and took my vial.
I paid you 10 gold so that you could hire the sorcerer.
Well, we've just discovered that it's clearly more useful than we thought. Don't worry. You can have it back in a minute. Just keeping it for now.
I bloody well will.
Gentlemen, let's put this aside now. What's going on? You look like you've seen something.
Look at this. And I hold out my hand outside the door as you see the rain sort of forming a mist around the hand, not making it more wet than before.
What does that actually mean? Can you breathe underwater?
I think it means that water is not coming near me, friend.
We have to try this. Go dip your head in the water.
Indeed, quick, yes. Go down to the shoreline and just see what happens.
Yes. Head, water, test.
This is probably a good idea. And I go down to the fountain to dip my head into it and see if I can, indeed, breathe under the water.
Well remembered. It is probably a safer venture to dip your head in the broken fountain than it is to bathe in the untested waters of the Blossom Sea. And so you do so, and it is as if, as far as your sensation is concerned, it is as if the water just parts before you. And so your nose touches the stone basin of the fountain, without any water coming into contact with your skin. For your companions who are able to observe, it is actually that while the water does separate around you, it's like there's a film between you and it. It's almost imperceptible, translucent, but you are not touched by the liquid, and so when you pull your head out, you are just as dry as when you entered.
And I look at you two with great anticipation.
I look at the vial. I take a sniff of the foul odour. I try and put two and two together here. Now I've seen the effect. Might I know, is this a special enchantment potion? How long is it going to last? How exactly does it work?
Well, that's the question. Without testing it fully, you're not going to know. You've never encountered something like this before, but I'll allow you to do an intelligence roll to see whether you've ever heard of a concoction like this before.
Indeed, and I shall add my arcana to that roll. 15.
Well, you can't say exactly what this is. It was a good roll, but you don't know how effective it is with just a small mouthful. Usually you know that potent concoctions like this need to be imbibed in full to have the full effect. So just taking a swig and hoping for the best is a surefire way of drowning yourself. That may even be why it knocked him out. It perhaps is something that needs to fill your stomach before you can imbibe it safely. What you do know, and this goes back to myth, is that when the Titan Lethina, the Dame of Storms, the Untamed One, was supposedly bound and banished to her realm of chaos at the end of the war between Titans and gods, she was supposedly cocooned in a film that prevented her from being able to touch, to access, to manipulate those tempests, the air, the water, fire, all the elements that used to be at her disposal. She was separated from them, and that was the only way they could banish her. There was tale that when she struggled and writhed and tried to break free from her bonds, that some of it sloughed off into pools. You've heard of tales like that. And that's where your mind goes when you see what this is currently doing to your companion.
I take a moment to tap my iron rod. And I look a little annoyed as I remark, "No, it's not going to be enough for Saf. This probably is enough for one person for who knows how long. But still, maybe our acquaintance will be able to aid us, but unfortunately this is probably quite a special little thing we've been given, and without more of it, we can't rely on it too much.
Now, do you think that butler has more of it in the cellar? Maybe he can sort that out, and maybe the wizard can help us with the fire. We needed protection from that as well, right?
Well, he could, but I might have my own methods for Saf. It's fire, after all.
That's right.
But let us see. For now, I go over to Attila. You can keep this one. I don't have any desire to drink it. So very well. But next time you're drinking the whole thing.
I snatch it and I look at it. How much is it left?
Oh, there's still 3/4 of the small bottle left. He just took a small mouthful.
Okay, I'll keep this. I did pay for it after all. That's how I see it, at least.
Hey, I wondered where you had all gone.
Well, we just needed some fresh air. How's it going?
I see you've been painting the street. He's staring down at your puddle of vomit.
Who is this speaking to us?
The tavern keeper.
Ah, yes, well, we just went out for a little fresh air, get the rain in the... Have you found our man yet?
Well, I sent my boy out to get him.
Right, well, I suppose we're going to come back in, and while we wait for a couple of coin, you can provide us with some good food. It must be lunchtime already.
Well, I could probably sort you out with something. He takes the coin, you slide across the bar to him, and it isn't long before he provides you with a fish soup.
Which I start eating with relish, even though I'm fully aware that it's probably only actually been an hour since we last ate, but I am hungry.
Yes. I am a bit hesitant, but after a while I sort of warm up to the idea of eating again. Then I look around. The people that were here, or the similar ilk of the people that were wearing silver rings, the ones that Thashath so carefully went up to and spoke to. I did observe it, though I didn't hear the conversation. Any of those around in here now?
One of the thieves is still around, although she is asleep in a chair, just reclining, snoring quite loudly.
But none of the others are here, only her.
Yeah.
Alright. Well, she'll have to do. We have places to be. We can't be milling around all day looking for people. I go to sit by the table and just wait a little bit politely to see if maybe she'll wake up.
She seems pretty deep in her sleep, probably based on the empty cups in front of her. Alcohol-induced. As you're inclined to maybe give her a shake, see whether you can rouse her from her unconsciousness, an exceedingly tall lady steps into the tavern. She's elven, got heavy bags under her eyes, looks like she has seen better days, judging from the scars on her face and the fact that half of her hair looks burned away. She's only recently been in the wars. Her eyes immediately go to the Asathi and the Slytherin within the tavern. I hear you are asking for me?
I will get up immediately, finishing my soup, and do a little flourish and a bow. Indeed we are, and you might be?
Osborne of the Dolly. I'm a ship's mage.
Osborne of the Dolly, is it?
That's right, late of the Dolly. Not late of myself. The ship only sank a couple of days ago.
That's a pity. Are you looking for, well, we have an opportunity, let's say, to offer, if you might be interested in some, some coin.
Does it involve a bed and some drink? She sits down.
It will when we're done.
Well, it sounds like my kind of deal. What is it that you need from me? I've already been paid. Very generous of you to offer me those 4 gold coin.
Very generous of us indeed. Now, first of all, we would require a possible water enchantment. Something that would, I don't know, help someone breathe underwater for a good few hours. Or days, even.
Well, that's a curse for a sailor. We're not supposed to. Old ritual says that trying to bar oneself from drowning is a surefire way to earn the ire of the Titans. But, maybe if we hadn't listened to that, more of the Dolly's crew would still be here today. Here's to them! She raises an imaginary flagon. You're not sure whether she's drunk or completely out of her mind, or just very, very tired.
I smile anyway and say, indeed, to your friend's memories. Now, surely though, draw the ire of the Titans? Well, they're all gone now, and they got beat quite badly in a war, so we shouldn't be that worried about them now. At least not drawing their direct ire.
No, I suppose not. So you need an underwater enchantment to allow you to breathe, is that it?
Yes.
Oh, do you need me to cast it now?
Well, wait, if you were to cast it, right now, how long would it last?
Well, I'm not really at my full faculties. I imagine it would be just as effective now as it would be any other time that I cast it. I suspect with a little bit of a trick here and a trick there and a few more coin and a promise of drinks to last me throughout the day, I could make it last, until tomorrow.
I look to Fasaf.
Well, we might need to time it with whatever we do with our other friends with the distraction, yes, so...
It would be much better for us, friend, if we were able to come to you perhaps later,
and then have the enchantment when we need it, not like we're going to go swimming right now.
So you're intending on swimming at night?
Well, yes, night swimming is very good for the constitution, don't you know, and I need it, look at me.
Well, that is quite apparent. Just be sure that there are creatures in the Blossom Sea that only come out at night. You would be better off going on your underwater swim, sightseeing, examining whatever it is you're looking to examine during the day. I can assure you of that.
She's got her points.
What of late afternoon?
Well, I suppose late afternoon is fine. How long are you planning on being underwater?
Oh, I don't know. An hour?
Oh, well, I'm sure you'll be fine then.
Excellent. Yes, we're not planning on combing the ocean depths. We're literally just going to go and find a very particular coral and go and get some and come back again.
Oh, I know exactly what you mean. There's some lovely coral down there. Yeah, well, in that case, let's round it up to 10 gold.
One more thing. Do you by any chance know any enchantments for carrying? You know, making things lighter, making a bag hold more, for the coral, you see.
Well, coral isn't very heavy.
This is gonna be a very heavy coral, and lots of it also.
Very well. I could probably work something, but it might actually be better if I was with you. There are so many things I could cast. I'm actually quite an accomplished spell mistress, although it's probably not very obvious right now. But if I cast something on you, how would you know you'd need it there and then? Let's say that I go with you. So therefore both of our resources are covered. You know that I'm not duping you out of money, and I don't have to go through the tragedy of losing another 3 close friends to the water.
Acceptable.
Sounds great. I like to have new friends.
I like to have more coin in my pocket, more drink in my belly, and more sleep. But I can't get to sleep right now, because of the screams and the burning, so I will make do with the coin and the alcohol.
That's the spirit. See, it's good to find like-minded people. I too find sometimes sound of fire is a pleasant thing to get to sleep to.
Well, we'd probably best tell her what's going on then, right?
Well, you can handle that. I need to do something. I'm going to need a use of a room with a fireplace. Let me talk to the tavern keeper. You continue here. Sort out the payment.
She's just staring into her hands.
Well, you got paid already, right? You got from the runner, right?
He gave me 4 gold, so it's another 6, and I'm in your service, my lord.
All right. Well, there's more of it where we're going. I give her the 6 gold, and I will tell her of what we're going to do with a very straight face and matter-of-factly just explain that we're going to rob the citadel of Vilhaim, and we're going to swim over there, and we're going to get a lot of very, very valuable things, and she's going to come with us.
Sounds wonderful, like a real adventure.
It will be, I promise. And,
I have to say though, it does sound a little like suicide as well.
that's why we brought you.
So that you had an audience?
No, you're gonna make this not be suicide. You're powerful, right?
Well, I can help you with the water. I can help you with the lifting of whatever it is, this suit of armor. That won't be an issue. But I'm not entering the citadel itself. There's all kinds of creepy crawlies in there that I have no desire to fight. And frankly, I'm in no fit state to. I can cast a spell in my sleep, but run away or fist fight a monster, no thank you.
Look, then you don't have to fight them, alright? Just help us, alright? You come with us, give us the spells we need, keep in the background. We'll keep you safe.
There's so many sayings about never trusting a snake or a rat.
This time is different, I promise you.
Well, frankly, I've never found halflings, gnomes, dwarves, elves, or humans any more reliable.
Meanwhile, I go to the tavern keeper, and I say, "My good man, can I require one more service of you?"
Yeah, what would that be?
If you got any of your rooms available with a fireplace, I'll only need it for like 10-20 minutes.
This ain't an inn, that's on the other side of the road. I mean, if you need a fireplace, there's the main fireplace right in the corner over there. Still got a few embers burning. If you want me to stoke it up, that's no trouble.
I require some privacy and hardly private visit.
I'll tell you what. For another 3 gold, you can use my own personal bedroom for your private activities.
Ah, wonderful! 3 gold it is. And I will happily hand him over that amount and be shown the way to his bedroom.
You are shown to the living area of the tavern, essentially. It's where he, his wife, his children live. He clears his wife and children out, says, "Don't be long, and knock on the door once you're done."
Of course.
Whatever it is that you're doing.
When I am finally left to myself, I shall make to the fireplace. I shall stoke up the fire, getting it ready, nice and roaring. I shall then sit cross-legged in front of the fireplace and remove my iron rod. I place half of the iron rod in the fire and maintain a good grip on the other end with my hand. I then close my eyes and begin muttering the incantations required to hopefully gain an audience with my patron. I say, "Greatest of all Afriti, the great Afriti Sultan, 'tis I, your humble servant, seeking your aid, your counsel. As always, anything thou requests, I shall grant. O Afriti Sultan, I beseech thee, and seek your aid."
The fire flickers and sparks. There is no great plume of inferno or a face appearing in the flame. But you do think you can hear a voice crackling over the wood burning. "Speak, servant."
"Indeed I shall, great and mighty Sultan." I prostrate myself even further, but always making sure to keep a firm grip on the rod and keep it in the flame. My master, I am in need of advice and possibly a boon. The fortress of Vilhaim, they say, has a furnace. Ever burning, ever undefeatable. I require a way to bypass it or get past it, not just myself, perhaps 2 or 3 others. After all, surely such a flame is nothing compared to your mighty inferno. Would you perhaps know of a way, my lord, my sultan?
No flame matches the great inferno. No heat matches that of the city of brass, the citadel of Vilhaim, in a mockery of fire. There is a way for you to pass through its flame, its embers, without suffering the scorching heat.
Yes, my great sultan, there is. What is it? And of course, what must I do to appease myself to you?
It is quite simple, my favored little snake. You must allow one to take the flame for you. This Hefriti has a wish. You will wear the skin of another, and that skin will burn in sacrifice to me, just as its former bearer dies in a sacrifice to me. Find for yourself a host whose skin would fit around your slender wizened form. Kill it. Peel it. Wear it for me, and you shall be immune to the heat.
I can do that indeed, my lord. My only concern is I might need a few others as well. Could my sacrifice create an aura, perhaps, that would shield them as well? Again, I am happy to pay the price. It is only the numbers I'm concerned about.
You ask much, Asathi.
At this, I nod, and then I turn around the rod. I quickly flip it so that the other end is now in the fire, and I am clutching the burning iron, which hurts extremely, but I simply try my best to deal with it and I go, I know, my lord, and I offer flesh.
Ah, Kada. Let it burn a hole through your hand.
And I do my best to hold it, trying not to wince. To be honest, though, I have burned myself before. At least I have that.
Make a constitution roll, or, if you prefer, a wisdom roll. I think you would favour constitution.
I would favour constitution. 8.
You drop the rod. You have lost 2 hit points to this act of self-immolation, minor as it was. The voice screams from the fireplace as the rod drops to the floor. No! Just you! And then it's gone.
And I take a moment to nurse my hand, freshly burned, and I nod. I pick up the rod from the other end, the less hot end, placing it back in its sheath, and I make my way back outside.
What was all that screaming about?
Oh, I caught my hand in your fire. Very foolish of me.
He glances down. Oh yeah, I can see that. Smells a bit rotten in here. Still, I've got your coin. You can go back in now. He speaks to his wife, children, who look down and file past you. Will that be all, or can I go back to making food and drinks?
Oh, that will be all. That will be all. And I will return to Fasaf, and I assume Attila, who may have joined us, and I will say, with the company of the wizard, well, I have a way round the flames, at least for myself. How are you doing with this fine lady?
She's on board. We have a new partner. But she's not gonna fight anyone for us. She's gonna hang around in the back. But she's gonna give us the magic.
Oh, certainly. No fighting, no fighting. Not from me, I'm afraid. Well beyond that.
That's alright, we'll take care of that part. Now, what do you think? Do we need to involve these thieves? Could we just not swim in? I mean, what could go wrong?
I draw Fasaf aside, and Attila, saying, "If you'd give us a moment, my lady, I need to speak."
She waves you off.
We are going to need the thieves, Fasaf, because we're going to need one of them to, at least one of them to die.
Okay.
Yes, Attila, maybe you can assist with that. I'm going to need you to kill one of them, and how are you with skinning a being?
I look at him with a strange, thoughtful look.
I'm not a hunter, if that's what you're asking.
Doesn't need to be a good job, I just need to... I'm going to need to wear his skin, alright? When I do this, I will be able to get past those flames. Now, hopefully, I can find a way of then turning them off from the other side.
So you're asking me to kill someone and then you'll wear his skin and you'll pass through the flame and then you think you might turn them off from the other side?
Yes, I mean, think about it. Surely there must be a mechanism for turning it off. Otherwise, how would they put anything in the vaults in the first place? I know the idea is that once they're in, they stay in. But there must be some method. It's probably easier to find it from the side they don't expect you to be coming from.
What you say makes sense. Alright, so we need a partner that is, expendable. Very expendable.
Yes. Although, as I say this, Fasaf would be able to see, at least, that I'm not quite as jubilant about this as I normally would be. I'm not actually very keen on simply throwing people's lives away, but it has to be done.
I draw my hand through my whiskers and accidentally pull one out, a greying old one.
Well, fine. I suppose if you think that'll get your whatever you're doing started. Maybe that's all we need then.
It's gonna be a thief, so, you know, bad people. Killing them may be okay.
You know, Fasaf, that's a good point. It's a good point. It's probably going to be a ne'er-do-well who has no desire to actually, do any good. I agree with you. Besides, that's why we need them. We need one to be expendable, and we need a few more as well to be expendable, because we don't want to be facing every single thing here. I'm going to rely on you, though, Fasaf. You're going to have to do some very good convincing here, making them seem like, oh, I don't know, this is the greatest thievery of all time, the greatest heist. You're a master thief, all that.
Alright. I was born for this. Alright, let's find some thieves.
And, well, she is still not awake, I suppose, the
No.
lady from the Thieves Guild.
She is not.
Right. Well, then it is her. So I move up and I gently try to get her to wake up.
What?
You want gold, right? You're looking for riches, right?
Oh, you from last night.
Yes, I have a proposition. There's riches waiting just for the taking, and we are about to conduct a rather large heist. But we are in need of a few, a few good people to help us procure the items that we need. Some backup, some extra hands, some skilled, thieves.
She sobers up immediately, stands up, level with you, straightening up before even you can. Give me the details, and I'll go straight to the guild.
We're gonna rob the citadel of Vilhaim. And we're gonna take everything that's inside, everything that's valuable. And we're gonna succeed.
She stares at you blankly for a couple of seconds. She doesn't laugh in your face, but she does raise a hand to cover the smile.
Yes, I know many have tried, none have succeeded.
No, you're right. None have succeeded. So what makes you think that two Asathi, one Slytherin, and a drunken elf, she looks over at the ship's mage, are more capable than some of the greatest thieves in memory?
Well, let me tell you, and I point to Kadar. That lizard there, he is not just any lizard, he is the greatest mage amongst our people. And the Slytherin over there, you see he is old, yes? He has been in war his entire life and has lived to that age. He is a mighty powerful warrior. We have assembled the best I say.
Well, I know what my guild will say. If the price is right, we'll show an interest. We'll lend a few bodies to your cause. And it can't just be whatever comes from within the Citadel before you start saying that. We're not just embarking on a major heist with the promise of invisible loot. What do you have to pay the guild up front for the use of its members?
Well, I have 9 gold straight up from myself.
9 gold?
Also, I feel we should add on a little extra here. Not only are we proposing going in, but we have methods getting round things already. We have a way of actually getting to the Citadel. We have a way of being able to breathe the water, for the water entrance. We have a way of getting around the fire. So it's not as if we're asking you willy-nilly, oh, let's just break in. We have pretty much almost everything, other than a little bit of expertise from yourselves. So it's not as if you are the ones masterminding the whole thing. You're simply being used for your services, and hopefully getting something from it as well.
Well, that's all very reassuring. That doesn't answer the question of how much gold you have. If it makes it easier for you, consider this how do they call it in the major city? A stick-up. She pulls her dagger out. Give me a gold. I'll go to the guild. And I'll tell you what it buys you.
A gold?
No, your gold. All of your gold.
There's not much left. We're piling up whatever we have for this heist, so I throw whatever I have left. At this point, that wouldn't be much. I would have 9 gold left.
I also will put down my 9 gold and take off a few of those, my bangles, my jewels.
I do my best to hide them, and then I hand over a few of those as well. Not all of them, though.
I can see that you're sincere, because you are clearly emptying your pockets, rummaging around for the occasional lost coin. So, I will go to my guild. There's a few other members of the Triangle on a ship near here. Why don't you come straight with me? Bring your drunken mage. And if the deal is good, we can set sail straight away.
That sounds like a plan.
Indeed. And as I make to stand and dust myself off, I'll just mutter to Attila, I don't think killing one of them is going to be as hard as I thought it would be.
And I've been sitting by the bar, eating the now tepid fish soup. How is the stomach feeling and all that after that?
Much better, now that it's being laden down with some hearty fish soup.
And as you come back and say that, I look over as if you were intending me to kill this thief straight up. Just straight here and now. And I give you a questioning look.
Oh, not now. Attila, calm down. Later. Ideally, at the moment where we actually need the spell. By that point, hopefully, most of them will be dead already.
Well, fine. So where are we going?
We're going with our Triangle friends to a meeting. They're probably going to try and rob us blind, and possibly kill us there and then. But don't worry, I'm hopeful we can at least pull some intimidation. After all, if they try and kill me there and then, I'm going to burn every single one of them. I'm getting very annoyed with this lack of cooperation.
There's not much to steal from us anyways. They'd better try this. It's an opportunity. I hope they will see it that way. And if not, well, hey, what can we do? Then the dragon will eat us, so...
Fine. Go. Oh, do you want me to come with you?
We're all going.
We're all going, Attila. Come, we need you. We need you to pull the angry rat man who, if you mess with me, I'll chop you all up. You can do that, right?
I manage to smile, and I say, that I can do. And I slide off my bar chair, and I seem a bit enthusiastic.
And we begin moving out, and I motion to our mage friend as well to join, and we begin following this triangle member heading for their lair, where we will definitely not be murdered. You have listened to an episode of Red Moon Role-Playing, where we play the adventure The Great Vilhaim Heist for Scarred Lands for Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. Our dungeon master was the gentleman gamer, Matthew Dawkins, and we would like to thank him and Onyx Path Publishing for doing this actual play production together with us. The music was made by Ager Sonus and Lesa Listvi, and was used with permission from their label, Cryo Chamber. You can find more delicious dark ambient at cryochamber.bandcamp.com or their YouTube channel. If you want to support Red Moon Roleplaying, do check out our Patreon. The show would not be possible without all the generous support we are getting there. You give us so much energy, help us cover our costs, and open up time to record and edit. Thank you from the bottom of our hearts. And remember, praise Mormo.